shit. That's where we are now. It's just shit. It's all shit. Um, I was gonna do an Argyle update this week. Let me briefly do it. Right, I'll get through with it. Um, Started adding documentation. That's good. Documentation's a good thing. I've been trying to address the maintainability score that the static analyzer is complaining about. So I've made some progress there. I have modified the work scheduler so that new work also can be picked up by any node, rather than it only retries being capable of doing it. Um, various cleanup, and what else? Oh, yeah. So another thing that I added is the idea that you can match on required. So if you have a required input, you can add a little mini script like a JPath or something like that, and say, listen, I only want to collect values if those values match this filter, which is kind of useful. And if it, of course, if nothing matches, then you can skip that step. So it's a predicate, but on the attribute level, and it happens early. So yeah, there's that. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Um, about 2 weeks ago, one of the developers on one of the teams, sort of in my department, quit. He quit. He took a job with Google, and that's actually cool if you're one of the managers, and his manager should be really proud. Is that if you have a person on your team who you mentor and you give advice to, and maybe you help grow, it's always sort of a moment of pride when the little bird flies from the nest and goes to like one of the FANG companies or something like that. I know I was proud when some of my developers went on to work for like AWS or GitHub. I was really proud about that. It makes me happy as like I can pick them. I don't think I've ever had a bad hire, to be quite honest with you. I've always been very happy with all the people I've hired and worked with, and I'm always proud of them when they move on to bigger and better things. And I think for this guy's manager, it was probably one of those moments. It's like sad, it's bittersweet, but at the same time, he's going. The thing is that when I asked him about it, I said, why are you leaving? Other than the obvious, why are you leaving? He said, well, to be honest, since we've started really using AI for just about everything in generating code, I don't feel joy anymore. And this echoed something that I'm also seeing quite often on YouTube, and I'm seeing on people talk about on LinkedIn and various other channels, that he's not wrong. That there and I what, honestly, I feel it too. I would say right now, like if I were not working on Argyle as my sort of passion project, right? If it were not my thing, if I were working for some other company and I was going into the office 8 hours a day and just sort of taking tickets from a product manager and writing prompts to generate the stuff that I'm generating for Argyle, I also would feel no joy, to be quite honest with you. And I probably would eventually seek greener pastures, find a place where I see the problems to be solved and the challenges as being worth my time. I totally get it. And I think that this actually will lead to a crisis in our industry unless we do something about it. And what that something is, I don't know. But I have a strong feeling that something is something that we've already done in the past and that we've either forgotten or that too many companies have just sort of not bothered to take seriously. And what I mean by that is that when we talk about agile, and I don't mean doing sprints and having a scrum master and stuff like that. I think you're totally right to complain about agile as a brand, right? I totally agree with you. I knew we had jumped the shark on agile when people were pushing SAFe and less. It's like scaled agile framework. It's like all of the great things about waterfall, but with an agile name applied to it. Yay! No, we did. We jumped the shark. But there was a kernel of beauty in the agile mindset that a lot of companies actually embraced, a lot of companies did really fucking well at, and that we've completely forgotten about. And that is going back to the manifesto for agile software development. And one of the things that it literally says is you should get as close to your customers as possible and iterate rapidly. And that meant the teams, the software developers, not just the PM who's taken the requirements from the customer and bring them to the engineers so that they don't have to because they don't know how to talk to people. You know that movie? Yeah. We do that now. We have product managers. It's their fucking job is to talk to the customers so the engineers don't have to. No. This is one of the problems. Now, I'm going to be quite honest. I'm not saying that product managers are useless. Actually, they're highly useful if they're doing the right things. And I've talked about this before. They should stop managing teams and they should actually do the things that product managers do best. And you decide what that is, because every time I try to tell people what I think it is, I'm wrong. So it's fine. It's fine. I don't need to define what a PM is. But what I can say is that right now in our industry, CEOs everywhere are literally trying to find a reason to fire all the engineers. I'm not kidding. They're looking for a fucking reason to get rid of you. And I hate to say it, but they've been looking for that reason for decades. This is not the first time. If we go back to the days of Visual Basic, they were already thinking, holy shit, I could drag and drop a button and then just connect these two properties, and I've got a working Microsoft Access app. Hell yeah, we don't need developers anymore until there's a problem, right? And every opportunity they get, they're going to look for a reason to get rid of you because you're hard to deal with. I know, I'm an engineer. I'm hard to deal with. They're going to look for that reason. And why are you hard to deal with? Because you ask questions. And yet, that's your fucking superpower. That's the funny thing. The fact that you ask questions, the fact that you are constantly saying, is that really the best way to do this? That is what makes you great and makes you difficult simultaneously. And it's why the CEOs treat you like prima donnas that they would rather do without and want to get rid of you as quickly as possible in the face of any new technology that promises to possibly be able to do that. Are they right? Maybe they're a little right to want to get rid of you. Will it happen? Nah. But there will be pain in the meantime. But what I'm going to tell you right now is this. Companies that don't have a plan for how to navigate this whole AI thing, they're going to cause damage. Massive damage to themselves and to their people because they just say AI. They don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. No idea what they're talking about. And they're going to look for reasons to cut costs instead of, and honestly, this is what I'm hearing everywhere. Not my company, just everywhere. It's about cost cutting. Why? If you have a technology that can be used to automate the most redundant, ridiculous parts of your fucking job and give you a productivity boost and have your smartest people use their brains to focus on the actual hard problems that would create a unique selling proposition for customers, that would create basically novel value and problem solving for customers that the AI itself can't do, because the AI can only do what it knows. So if you have smart ass people, AI can help them. But the point is that you should need to set up your company so that they can be smart ass people solving hard problems that the AI can't do. And if you haven't done that, and if you only care about the cost saving, you're basically damaging yourself. It's a strategic blunder if you're a CEO and you think that this is all about cost cutting. And you know what? You'll win the Darwin Award. It's fine. It's fine. That's evolution, man. That's evolution. You're going to lose. You're going to die. Oh, well. Sorry. I mean, I would say I would like the company I work for to survive. And I have a lot of friends, and I want their companies to survive as well. And here's what I would recommend to you. Let's go back to the Agile Manifesto. The only way this works, guys, girls, smaller cross-functional teams who are empowered, who are autonomous, who have a direct line of sight to the customer, who have been ordained with creating value and having a sense of purpose around creating that value for the customer, who sit with the customer, who iterate with the customer, who draw out of the customer the real requirements that actually create delight for the customer. That's what we need to do. Having multiple layers of hierarchy in a company where the good ideas are believed to be only a part of a small monopoly up at the top where everybody has C in their name. That's absolutely fucking insane. Hate to say it. I've worked at a lot of companies and I've known a lot of CEOs, and a few CEOs are actually, I would say, just a couple of them, a few like two or three, who actually understand that the best ideas come from the people who are closest to the customers, who actually have kind of local knowledge and understanding of the problems that the customers are actually facing. It doesn't come from some super genius who worked at Deloitte and used to actually just ship PowerPoint presentations to customers and call it a day. The ideas aren't coming from them. Maybe they can manage a company, but the ideas are coming from the people who actually empathize and feel the pain with the customers. But you have to set them up to be able to do that. You can't do it with hierarchy. You can't do it with compartmentalization and bulkheads. You can't do it with silos. Everybody loves to talk about silos. It's not going to work. The only way that this is going to work, the only way we're going to actually be able to use AI is to sort of get back to the mindset of, hey, remember when we were a startup and we were so fast? And it was because everybody was basically doing everything because they kind of had to. There was no choice. You had to sort of ooze into any vacuum in order to fill that space to be able to just ship. And we were hyper focused on actually getting shit done because we knew that if we didn't get it done, the runway would run out and we would just burn all our cash and just be out of business. Every company needs to get back to that. And I'm going to tell you right now, I work at a startup, and this startup, like so many other startups, they have this ambition of being big, and that's great. You do want to be big one day. Yeah, you want to just dominate the market. Fine. But a lot of the things that you do as a company, as you try to grow, it doesn't mean you have to change sort of the fundamental mindset, that hunger, right, that you have, and sort of the entrepreneurial spirit that got you into it in the first place. You can grow while still acting small. And I can tell you for sure that big-ass companies, big companies, they're constantly asking themselves, how the fuck do we get back to acting like a small company again? Because we're dragged. We can't get anything done. We don't even know how to organize to be able to deliver anything within a reasonable time frame. So why would a small company who has an opportunity to kick ass aspire to that? Why would you do that when you have everything you need right now? And guess what? You have the democratizing power of AI. So you could just fight the David versus Goliath now, because AI is in your hands. And if you have the smart people and you give those smart people the right to actually act and the tools that they need to act and the freedom, you could kick ass. You just could. So why wouldn't you do that? And for developers, seriously, here's something that I'm seeing. I need to address this. I have now talked to and I've heard from a lot of people at a lot of different companies. And even though we give you Claude code accounts or whatever, and you're using AI constantly, you're not shipping anything. And here's why, is because, and listen, I suffer from this too. Yeah. I love tech, shiny objects. I love it. I love tech. Anything that's new and the hot shit, I'm all about. But it can't be that you're given a tool like an AI tool and you just proceed to just build fucking pipelines and agent swarms and in anticipation of what you might do with that stuff. Okay? It's called Yagni, right? You ain't gonna need it. KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? Continue to think in those terms. You have AI, but the most important thing is, what kind of value am I trying to create right now? And how can I do that in a way where I'm not generating, back to agile, where I'm not generating massive amounts of muda, waste? Because in your hands, these AI tools, if you don't govern them well, can create shit tons of waste, way faster than you could have ever imagined in the past. You thought that technical debt was a problem 10 years ago? No, now it's a real problem, a huge, huge problem. And so you need to be the one who actually corrals that and manages that. And you need to be able to say, listen, our goal is not to generate a lot of code. Our goal is to generate the right code at the right time for the right people who will be delighted with the value that we've created for them. That's it. That's the fucking job, man. And so use AI for that. That's your critical path. Do that. Create agents if you need to, if it facilitates that. But that's the only thing that you should ever be worrying about. Don't go crazy and say, like, yep, I'm just sitting there and I got 20 different agents doing 20 different fucking things and I have no idea what the fuck they're actually doing. And I probably don't even care because I probably won't look until the company collapses because you weren't in the loop at any one point. You just trusted the agents, which are dumb as shit, by the way. I have to keep saying this. They're dumb. I gave a documentation task to Claude a few days ago. I said, hey, listen, can you... And I gave it Opus. Yeah, I gave it Opus. And I said, can you look at the source code for Argyle and some of the documentation that we've already produced and generate a site that actually describes exactly what Argyle is and how to use it. And it then proceeded to generate massive amounts of slop, just garbage, speculative fucking garbage. It was describing things that didn't even exist in reality. And I was like, what are you doing? What is this? And it said, just like what happened with, what is it, Pilot OS, whatever it's called. It's like, oh yeah, you're totally right. I just saw a bunch of keywords and I just sort of speculated about what might be the thing I need to document. And I just created a bunch of stuff. For 3 hours, it created a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff. Complete fucking waste of time. And I gave it a specific job. I literally said, look at the engine. The engine is your source of truth. It's small, but the semantics are all there. The policies, all there. Everything that it does is in one fucking place. Make sure that the website is always referring back to that as the source of truth, and it proceeded to just make up stuff. So, seriously, you need to govern this. I'm telling you right now, I failed to do so. I just failed to do it, right? You need to be the one who manages it. Make sure, please stop with big bangs. Stop with trying to one-shot. Stop with big specs. Just be a fucking software developer. Be ready at any point in time to code. Don't forget how to code. You're going to have to code. You're going to have to code. One day, you're going to have to code us out of this mess. Because this shit's going to be so fucking expensive that companies are going to be like, maybe we should stop using the AI and hire engineers again. And then the engineers who remember how to code will be like the fucking COBOL developers of the 2000s, where they pull us out and dust us off, you know, like we're fucking fossils, and say, hey, can you fix this? That's us. Don't forget to code. Code. Make sure that you get the cheapest version of Claude so that you run out of your 5 fucking hour window and then you do some coding. Or thinking, I don't care, whatever. But don't take yourself out of the loop of this. Small iterations. Low work in progress. One thing at a time. Make sure that one thing is always focused on creating some kind of value for somebody downstream of you. Make sure. Or something that enables you in the future, but based on a concrete need, not, I think that I might need a fucking agent swarm and a bunch of skills that do things. Why? Create things as a byproduct of the real world thing you're trying to solve right now. Do that. Because that's what we've always done, and it's what has always worked. Always. And now we're just throwing it all away on a fucking bet? On speculation? On technology that isn't even close to being good enough to trust? It's great for productivity. It's great. I use it. I built a whole product on it, right? but it is not an engineer. An engineer has to drive that. And when I say an engineer, I don't mean someone leaning back on their chair and saying, yep, there's my agents doing their agent thing. You will fail. Trust me, you will fail. Don't do it. Continue to be engineers, and in fact, be better engineers. You need to start taking on the responsibility of caring about the customer, caring about the product, caring about the business strategy, and really taking ownership over creating that value. Because what's going to end up happening, and again, CEOs are going to do this, they're going to fire people. The teams are going to shrink. The companies are going to shrink. They're going to try to save money, right? It's all about costs. It's not about creating value. It's about costs. It's not about growth. It's not about using the AI to be able to be massively productive and create massive customer value. It's not. That's not what it's about, because guess what? Most companies were never even good at that in the first place. So what do you expect from them? The only thing that they're really good at is managing cost. So you need to be the one who cares about creating value. You, engineer, product manager, I don't care, whatever. You need to do it. All right. I've ranted too long, so I'm going to stop now. I might do this again. I don't know. We'll see. See how you react to it. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Have a good one. I'll talk to you next week.